Evening and welcome to the Wheaton High School student orientation for those students who will be returning to partial in-person, I should say, return to school. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the expectations that are required as you make the transition from home to school. This presentation will be posted on our website within the next 24 hours, and you'll be able to review it. And also there'll be links within this presentation for you to get some further information. Tonight, joining me is Lauren Zolkowitz, who is our 9th grade Academy lead, and she is our technical person behind the scenes. Pamela Brennis will be providing interpretation for those of you who need it. And Lisa Gerhard, who is our Academy coordinator, will be joining us shortly. Somehow there were two different links set out, and some folks joined the meeting that is to be held tomorrow afternoon. So if we have the next slide. And if I didn't introduce myself, I'm Dr. Deborah Muggy, principal of Wheaton High School. Tonight we're going to talk about masks and cleaning, arrival dismissal procedures, bell schedule, bathrooms, classrooms, hallways, and lockers, breakfast and lunch service, technology, and health room procedures. The overall health and safety guidelines, and here are some resources that we will share with you. These will be live links for you to have when we post this presentation. Within the next 24 hours, you'll have the 5 pillars of public health, and you will have school building preparation, physical distancing, and safety during sports. Learn more about face coverings and more about hand hygiene. Okay, mask wearing, this is important. Masks and face coverings will be required for all students while on campus, both inside and outside the building. So once again, these are mandated. You got to have a mask. And the face coverings are required except when you're actively eating or drinking. Meals will be served in the cafeteria. So while you are in the hallways, while you're in the classroom, you will need to have face masks. And the face masks do need to be the double layered fabric face mask. So if you would go to the next slide. All cloth face coverings they must fit the face snugly and permit easy breathing. Please take a look at the mask. This is the mask that is required. No gaiters. You can't pull the one up from your neck over your nose because that's generally just a single layer of cloth. Also, bandanas are not acceptable. You have to have the double layer cloth face coverings. If the student does not have one when they arrive to the building, they will receive one. You also have to wear the mask if you are riding the bus. It securely covers the nose and mouth. From the bridge of the nose to under the chin. Nose must be covered, mouth must be covered. We want it to be free of dangling ties, straps, and materials that can snag, that can catch on equipment, doors, etc. Also, you need to keep your mask clean and free of damage, no holes and no tears. What will be done for students who forget their mask and those who become soiled or damaged during the day? We will have replacement face coverings. The main office and buses will stock disposable surgical style masks and or replacement face coverings. Repeated failure to bring face covering will be addressed through education and discipline as needed. If students are not able to follow the rules of the mask in classrooms, hallways, indoors, outdoors, and except for when they're eating, we will have to have a discussion as to whether the in-person instruction is the right way to go or whether we will ask the student to go back to the virtual setting because we must wear the masks. What we have found is that our student athletes have had no trouble at all wearing masks. We've had no issue. And also Thomas Edison, which started March 1, we have had no problems with students wearing masks, and I don't anticipate any problems with students not wearing the mask while they're at Wheaton High School. Routine cleaning. And routine cleaning, it is expected that there will continue to be routine remain virtual. They will be going over the building on Wednesdays as well. Okay. I saw that I froze. Could you go back one? I think I froze. There'll be increased frequency of touch point cleaning, disinfecting of handrails, door handles, sinks, toilets, drinking fountains. Actually, the drinking fountains are closed. So we are asking students to bring bottled water with them. And what we will not do is between classes, the classrooms will not be cleaned. The teachers and students will also need to contribute to caring for their areas and cleaning of their supplies and spaces.
Dr. Muggy, you have frozen again.
Drop off and walkers. If you ride a bus, you are going to enter through the side entrance on the bus loop. It's the athletic entrance near the gym. For those of you who are picking up meals on Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, it's that entrance. Walkers and drop-offs will enter through the main entrance. Students who are dropped off by the bus who arrive at 7:45 will remain in the cafeteria and will be supervised by staff, which are administrators and also security. They will be in the cafeteria from 7:45. They will get breakfast, and then students will head to their classes at 8:45. Students who are walkers or are being dropped off by parents do not need to arrive to school until 8:45. Students, when they go to their classrooms, they'll find that desks have been placed 6 foot apart, and also they're 6 foot apart in the cafeteria for students to sit socially distanced. We have removed the traditional cafeteria tables and have individual desks. Arrival and dismissal. Masks must be worn when riding the bus. If students are riding the bus and they don't have a mask, they will be given one. Bus and car riders, as well as walkers, will enter the building and maintain the 6 foot physical distance. Upon arrival, students will move into assigned locations. Once again, bus riders will move to the cafeteria. If students are going to arrive before 8:45 to have breakfast with us, they will move to the cafeteria, pick up breakfast, select one of the desks that you see in front of you, and that's where they will be assigned until they head to their first class at 8:45.
Dr. Muggy, there was one question regarding this, asking if there would be bus monitors.
On the school bus?
I believe, yes, that is the question.
That we would have to ask for transportation. I know if it is a special education bus, there are 2 people on the bus. I don't know on a general ed, the large bus, which they're limiting it right now to 22 students. I don't know the answer to that question, but I will find out and we will have it answered for the Q&A tomorrow afternoon. I know there were bus monitors on elementary school buses, but I haven't seen them on the high school. This is our bell schedule, which will begin on Monday, the 15th. You will notice that it is changing a little bit. This is hard to see, I know, but it is posted on the Wheaton High School website. School will be dismissed at 2:30. So what we had to do was move the focus student support from the afternoon to the morning. So students will be able to log in virtually with their teachers for focus student support from 8:15 to 8:45 rather than at the end of the day. We will also have lunches in 2 shifts because we have to monitor the number of students who are in the cafeteria at one time. Students will have a 30-minute lunch, and A group will have a 30-minute lunch. They will then go to a 30-minute wellness break. Those who are not in the first lunch shift will start with a wellness break and then move to the cafeteria for lunch. All lunches will be served in the cafeteria. Movement in the hallways. Students and staff must move through the hallways. There are visual markers and signs on the floor. You must maintain 6 feet apart. So we have plenty of time to get from one class to another. Some hallways or stairways may only allow one way and will have an arrow to show which way is permitted. We're lucky at Wheaton. We're a new school. The majority of our staffways are split by a railing. So you will stay to your right. You will go up one side of the stairway and down the other side, and there are arrows. Arrows in the hallways are 6 feet apart. Students should walk on those blue arrows so that they maintain proper distance. We're not able to have one-way hallways in some areas on the 2nd floor and 3rd floor because they're dead ends. And so that way we have to go, once they go to the classroom, they'll have to walk through the hallway the other direction, but please watch the arrows on the floor. Once again, masks are expected to be worn when traveling through the hallways. Bathrooms, we have to limit the bathroom occupancy. We're limiting the occupancy to 2 students at the time. We will have administrators in the hallway. We will have security in the hallway to help maintain that there are only 2 students at a time. We've asked teachers whose students need to use the restroom during the class to only allow 1 to go at a time to the restroom. Once again, water fountains are not operable in the building, so students will need to bring a bottle of water. We do have a water bottle filler in the cafeteria that is usable. So during lunchtime or between classes, students can refill their water bottle at that time. We're going to prevent congestion, congregation, and so we will be monitoring the hallways. So students just need to move from point A to point B quickly. We'll keep trash cans near the doors for paper towels and door handles. And once again, we're going to encourage hand washing before and after using restrooms. Students may also bring their own hand sanitizer, but hand sanitizer will also be available in the classrooms. Okay, classrooms. And we have the classrooms already set up. Students will be sitting 6 feet apart and facing the same direction. Classrooms are configured to include no more than 15 bodies, and those bodies do include the staff. Furniture that promotes shared learning spaces will be stored within the classroom, and that includes learning centers and things like that will not be used because we do have to maintain the 6 feet apart. And as I said, the seats will all face the same direction, and teachers' locations when seated or standing. The teachers and staff in the room will also maintain 6 feet from the students' seats. Once again, hallways and stairways. Students will be required to follow directional signs in hallways and stairways to maintain social distancing. On the right hand, you will see a picture of our stairwell, which is a split stairwell. So students should be able to go up the right-hand side, and when you come down, you'll be heading down the right-hand side. This is important to remember. Students will not be assigned lockers. Students will be required to keep all their items in their backpacks and with them at all time. Each student will be bringing their Chromebook from home to school with them every day. You will receive a Chromebook case and also headphones when you arrive for your first day back in school, but lockers will not be assigned. Breakfast and lunch. There will be free breakfast and free pre-bagged lunches available to students. So free breakfast will be available for all students returning to in-person, and they will start lunch as soon as students arrive at about 7:45, and we will end breakfast when students should head to their first class at 8:45. During breakfast and lunchtime, students must still maintain 6 feet of physical distancing. We do have the cafeteria set up. We will also, when the weather is nice, and hopefully it's nice when the students return, we can use the courtyard, and we have big red and gold dots on our built-in benches so that students can maintain that 6 foot of physical distancing. But also we can get students outside for some fresh air. The free pre-bagged lunches will be available to all students, and schools will provide a count to the cafeteria. Every morning, students who arrive to Wheaton High School to their first period class or the following day to their 5th period class will fill out a Google form, which allows us to help take attendance and also will indicate whether a student is going to have a lunch or whether students are bringing their own lunches to school, which is completely fine. But there'll be free breakfast and free lunches available to all students, no ID required. Once again, all students will eat lunch in the cafeteria. We want to maintain the one large area where students are able to take off their mask and have their lunch and then put the mask back on once they have finished eating. Students are expected to bring their Chromebooks and their charger to and from school each day. Do not forget your charger, particularly if you have not charged your Chromebook overnight. There are a very limited supply of extra Chromebooks in the building if there is a problem with a student's assigned one. Once again, headphones will be provided to all students. Students may bring their own headphones, but once I issue you a headphone, those are yours to keep. You won't be turning them back in every day. So you'll have your own headphones. If you prefer the ones from home, bring them. And a Chromebook case will also be provided to all students to help protect the Chromebook since it will be going back and forth.
Dr. Muggy, sorry to interrupt you. There's lots of questions about this. If a student was never assigned a Chromebook from Montgomery County, are they still able to pick one up?
Yes, we will assign them on the first day they're in the building.
Are students allowed to bring their own personal laptops instead of a Chromebook?
I believe so, yes.
And if one of their Chromebooks is currently broken?
They have to replace that at 45 West Goody right now. We're not able to replace a broken one, and they will be obligated to repair it. So if you have a broken one between now and when you return to school, you need to go to 45 West Goody Drive and have them take a look at it. Positive COVID cases. If a student is suspected of developing or having COVID-like symptoms, the following will occur. Students exhibiting symptoms will be separated immediately, and the parent and guardian will be notified by our school nurse in our health room, and the student will be sent home. If the student is not feeling well, they will let the teacher know. We have a form to fill out. The staff member will call for an administrator or security to help the student find the way to the health room, and the student will be seen by one of our health room staff. The nurse, the school nurse, or the health tech, when they talk to the parent and send the student home, then the student will need to be evaluated by the healthcare provider, and appropriate return to school documentation will be required for returning to school, and that will all be explained to you by the school nurse if indeed you get a call that your child is ill. And the child may go to the health room with unrelated COVID illnesses as well. Sometimes students get a stomach bug, they get a cold, they're not feeling well, allergies, but students will be referred to the health room and parents will be notified. According to Maryland State Department of Education, positive cases. A student with positive test results for COVID-19 or who does not receive a laboratory test or alternative diagnosis for symptoms must stay home at least 10 days since symptoms started and until fever-free for at least 24 hours without medication and symptoms have resolved. Once again, this information will be on the website. A negative case, a student with a negative COVID-19 test results or an alternative diagnosis for symptoms. If they say, no, it wasn't COVID, it was strep throat, then you must stay home until symptoms have improved. If a student has a positive COVID test result, the school will identify close contacts. We will be doing contact tracing. That is why it's very important for students to understand they cannot leave the building during lunch. If I have any students who are in the 11th or 12th grade on here, I know they got into a habit of leaving the building and heading to Aspen Hill, to McDonald's or Chipotle. You cannot do that. Once you are in the building, you will remain in the building until dismissal. If you do have an abbreviated schedule, you will leave at the end of your abbreviated schedule. But for symptoms must be excluded.
Dr. Mug, you froze again. Would you mind going over that last part?
Go ahead and can you read it if I'm still frozen?
Oh, you're not frozen anymore. Now we can hear you just fine.
Which part did you miss about going out for lunch?
Yes.
Okay, students cannot leave the building once they're in the building unless they have an abbreviated schedule and they're going home early. In previous years, some of our 11th and 12th graders decided that they would go to Aspen Hill for lunch. We do not have an open lunch. We cannot have an open lunch right now. Contact tracing is important. So students who decide to sneak out of the building, go to have lunch, will not be able to return into the building, and we will have to contact the parent to come and get them. Close contacts of students with negative COVID-19 results or with documentation of an alternative diagnosis do not need to be excluded if they do not have symptoms. I know this is all very confusing, and it's always best to go to the website, MCPS website, to look at the COVID procedures and also contact tracing. And once again, this will be posted. And if you have more questions, we will be able to hopefully answer them tomorrow afternoon and get some more information from our school nurse, who you can call at any time. How can a parent support their child? Ensure that your child has a clean mask to wear to school every morning. Parents can support their child by taking their temperature daily before leaving for school. If they have an elevated temperature, they need to stay home. Keep your child at home if they are exhibiting symptoms of COVID or any other illness. Provide your child with bottled drinking water for the school day and encourage, I froze again, and encourage your child to wash hands frequently. More questions, come to our office hours. Wednesday, March 11th, 3:30 to 5 p.m. And Lisa, are you on here? Is this Zoom code and password still good for tomorrow?
I do not think so. I think we got them switched somehow. I will send an email out to everybody again tomorrow with the correct link. I apologize. I'm not sure how we got switched between the meeting and the webinar, but I think we did. So thank you for those of you that made it over here. I believe this is the Zoom code for tonight because it's not the same one that I was sharing, and they were saying that I was looping them back to me. So we'll send the correct one tomorrow, and any questions you have, Dr. Muggy will be there to help answer.
Okay, we have a few more minutes. So if somebody wants to take a look at the Q&A, we might be able to get a few more questions.
Yes, Dr. Muggy, there is a question. Does a student have to stay home if a family member is home because the family member has had contact with someone who has COVID and they are awaiting test results?
Correct. And when they're home, they can log right in virtually as they've always done, so they will not be counted as absent.
Another question is, what if a family member is being tested for COVID but does not have any symptoms?
They have to stay home until they get the test results. And once again, keep logging in virtually and just send us a note saying that they will be virtual for the day. And the results.
How many students will be in the cafeteria at one time, roughly?
Roughly, I cannot give you a really good answer until we get the ball rolling, and that's why we're having 2 lunches. Right now, out of our 2,279 students, only 650 have elected to come back in person. We will be on an A-B rotating schedule. I don't know if I mentioned that, where students will be in the building for 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, their A week, and then the following week they will be home virtually. So we will have no more than about 350 students in the building at a time, and then we are dividing that into 2 lunches. So right now it depends on how many students actually show up for in person on any given day. So it's hard to tell, but I think we have it set up for about 50 to 75 students in the cafeteria, but it's all 6 feet apart.
I think there's some questions about when specific groups start. Will the students be receiving emails about that?
They should have already received an email. When you received the email that said that you were in person, it told you your start date and whether you were Group A or Group B. The general start date, and I will tell you, this could change when the Board of Education meets on Thursday, the 11th. Is Thursday the 11th? You have Wednesday, March 11th. We might even have the wrong date there. Anyway, seniors, their start date is April 6th. Seniors will come back April 6th along with a small group of students who have IEPs and have elected to come in early. And there are students in grades 9 through 12. But the majority of students coming in April 6th are 12th grade. Right now, the schedule is April 19th for grades 9 and 11. And April 26th for grade 10. And that is what I know as of right now at 7:04 on Tuesday.
There's some questions about what the school experience would be. Will teachers be teaching their students in the classroom? Will the students, is it simultaneous instruction? There's a few questions about that.
There's going to be a mix. There's going to be a mix of simultaneous, where students will be sitting in the classroom with their teacher while the teacher is teaching virtually, and a small group of students are in the room. We do have teachers who have received telework accommodations by Montgomery County Public Schools. Those students will be in a supported classroom with an adult while they are on their Chromebook receiving instruction from their teacher, who will be teaching remotely. So the student throughout the day could have a combination of simultaneous and supported.
And the students will be following their schedule, switching classrooms, going from one teacher to another.
Yes, that's the only way we could do it. We could not have a group of students because it's high school. It's very easy to have a second grade class in one room and have the electives come in and out. But in the high school, you may have a class that has students in grades 10 and 11 in, and we can't just rotate the teacher. So we're going to have to rotate the students.
There's a few questions about buses. When will students get bus information? And if they haven't elected to take a bus, are they still able to switch for preference on taking a bus?
We have put in, if they need bus transportation, they'll need to let me know as soon as possible, because bus transportation will not be the regular stops. The bus stops are already loaded onto the Montgomery County Transportation website. You can also call the school and we can look up to see if you've received transportation. There are students who live outside of the Wheaton bus routes. Those students are students who are in our Magna program, and some of our students who are in the Wheaton Edison program. For instance, some families live in Burtonsville will have to provide their own transportation. Some students who ask for transportation are walkers, so transportation will not be provided. If you have a specific question, you can send the school an email, or you can call the main office. They have a list of the buses. So if you do need to change from drop off to bus transportation, send me an email as soon as possible, because transportation is trying to update as quickly as possible and we want to have it ready to go.
There's a few questions about when parents and students will know if their teachers have changed, as in the teacher in the classroom, if that's something they'll be informed of.
Yes, we only have one teacher change that I'm aware of. The thing that we don't know is if some teachers will be going on leave, and if they are, if we will have substitutes. I don't have that information right now. We've only had to make a change for 2 students for 1 staff member who was going to remain teaching virtual. So we just made 1 change, but the majority of students will stay with the teachers they have. But once again, they may be sitting in a classroom at Wheaton High School with their Chromebook and being taught virtually by their classroom teacher.
So Dr. Mucky, there's a lot of questions on when their student goes back to in person because of the different cohorts and the alphabets and the A week and the B week. Where can they get that information? Is that on the website yet?
No, it's not on the website, because that'd be 650 kids. They should have received an email last Monday. And also, they can tell whether they're in Group A or Group B. Your child can look in Synergy, and you can look in parent view. And when you look over in the right-hand corner on the first screen that comes up, it'll say A or B.
There's a few questions about extracurriculars, not athletics, as in clubs, and if they will operate, and if so, how.
Right now, and Sandy Williams is our extracurricular person. She can chime in if she's got a microphone. Right now, they remain virtual until after April 6th.
That is true. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, extracurricular activities will remain virtual as of right now until after April 6th, and then we will be sending out more information about when clubs will be able to meet in person and what time of day and how many days a week. So you'll get more information as we get that information from MCPS.
We can also look to see if we can send out emails prior to when the grade levels come out to the students that are coming in person and give them information as whether they're A or B. But you should be able to find it in synergy with parent view, and also the student should be able to see whether they're an A group or a B group. Because I've had parents already call and ask me if they can switch from A to B because they're carpooling. So the information is there for you.
There's a few questions about support for new students, if there's going to be an orientation, a building tour, something of that sort to assist them navigating.
Right now, we are not allowed to give building tours. What we are going to send out, and it will be, I think, in homeroom, and Ms. Polachek is going to send it out. And actually, Ms. Zolkowitz is the one who filmed a virtual tour of the school. So you'll be getting information on a virtual tour of the school. Wheaton High School, what you will find is very easy to get around. We're one big square, and your classrooms are already listed on your schedule. If your classroom begins with a 1, you're on first floor, a 2, you're on second floor, a 3, you're on third floor. And once again, we have the administration, we have teachers, we have security who will be in the building and help you navigate the hallways. Not to mention, there will be other students who will be able to help you as well. But we will send out a virtual tour before spring break for all of our new, particularly our new freshmen, so that they can see the building and how to navigate. Other questions before tomorrow afternoon?
I think you've answered most of them. There's just a, kind of a broad question about what's the goal for Wheaton staff of bringing students back in person? What's the overall outcome that we are hoping to achieve? Did you hear me, Dr. Muggy?
No, I did not.
Oh, sorry. There's a question about I think there's a lot of reassurance that people are looking for about what the overall goal is for bringing students back, and what, for the final months in the year, what teachers and staff and the Wheaton High School team are attempting to achieve with this in-person learning.
What we're trying to achieve is to continue with a very
I think she froze again.
Oh no, Dr. Muggy.
virtual for families who have
Dr. Muggy,
I hate to tell you this, but you froze again in such a good, what you were saying, I wanted to hear so bad, but unfortunately froze again.
Okay, what we're wanting to do is to make sure that we have a robust academic program for those who are remaining virtual and those who are coming in person. We don't want to say, okay, the virtual program is going to be better than the in-person, or the in-person students are going to have an advantage. So the teachers are going to do their best to continue with the instructional program that we have established with the high expectations, the high standard, and to continue with students mastering the curriculum.
And just a little bit more reassurance from for staff, for parents and students, that they will have received emails explaining to them their start date, their schedule with the room numbers. That all has either been sent to them or is going to be sent to them.
You already have your schedule. Your schedule has the room number on it. So students need to take a look at their schedule, and where they go first period is already on that schedule. So we won't be sending schedules out because you already have it. What we will do is we'll try to send out another email letting students know whether they're in group A or B and their start date. This may all change on March 11th when the Board of Ed meets. They may decide to bring students in earlier. I don't know. There's some rumors of that. So we'll have to wait and see. But students have their schedule, and it'll still be periods on Monday, periods 1 through 4, Tuesday 5 through 8, Wednesday is virtual, Thursdays 1 through 4, Friday 5 through 8. When you look at your schedule in Synergy, you will see that the room numbers are on your schedule already.
Just one more, I think, if a student is not wanting to come into in-person learning that day, they can choose to do virtual for that day.
They will need to let us know, because we do have attendance, and there are attendance designations for in-person and for virtual. So what we would just need is an email from the parent, either to Ms. Hawkins in attendance, to the their student's administrator, letting them know that they are going to remain virtual that day. But yes, that is an option. And just remember, there will be glitches. I will guarantee that. We're learning this together. Remember, 1 year ago, we all went virtual, and we had to learn in March of 2020 how to teach virtual and meet the students' needs. I will tell you the guidance counselors will be on site as well for students to meet with their counselors. So as we learned how to teach from a completely virtual platform, we will be learning how to teach students who are in the classroom. It'll be a small group of students who are being taught simultaneous. And once again, how to support the students whose teacher is still teaching from a virtual setting, but while the student is in the building. We'll also try to provide activities for students for wellness activities during lunch. If this isn't working for your student, you just have to let us know, and we can move them back to the virtual platform. We want to make this work, but we need your help. We need the cooperation, and we need to come at it with a very positive attitude that this is going to work for every student.
And sorry if you addressed this, but if a student wants to spend focused student intervention time at the morning with a teacher in the classroom, is that permitted?
If the teacher invites the student to the classroom, yes.
I think that's about it, Dr. Muggy. You've done a great job answering their questions.
Oh, thank you, even though my internet went in and out.
So any